Okay, it's time to talk about cellular signaling. Okay, we're going to talk about cellular signaling, mechanisms of cellular signaling, and some molecules that are involved in cellular signaling. So first of all, some basics about cellular signaling. It is the process of communication in cells in which signaling happens so that cell molecules can bind to receptors on target cells. And these signaling events control a variety of functions within the cell, such as growth, metabolism, and cellular differentiation. And there are a variety of receptor types that we'll talk about, and signaling pathways that lead to different regulatory outcomes. And remember that you need to speed up the reactions in the cell because you have to maintain a certain basal metabolism, and signaling is what speeds up or slows down this process. So let's talk about some of the molecules involved. So first we should know what a ligand is. Ligand is the molecule that initiates the signaling cascade, and it can be a hormone or a cytokine, etc., etc. And sometimes receptors bind to other receptors, but anyway, the ligand is where all of this learning starts. Then, of course, we have the receptor, and the receptor is a protein, and this binds the ligand either outside the cell or inside. It depends on the ligand. It even goes into the cytoplasm or even into the nucleus in some cases. And then we have the nucleotides. ATP and GTP are the main players here. And then, of course, we have to think about the CAMP is also involved in this pathway, especially in second messenger signaling. But anyway, ATP and GTP are essential components in the signaling pathway, and changes in phosphorylation or energy state mediates the function of proteins. So what are the main players here in this activation or inactivation? They are the kinases and the phosphatases. So of course we have the kinases, which generally activate. These are proteins that can transfer a phosphate group to a target protein, and so they regulate the cell activity in that way. They get things going, although sometimes it can be the opposite, that they slow things down, but generally we think that kinases are phosphorylating and adding the phosphate, which speeds up the process. And oppositely, phosphatases, they inactivate a protein, and this removes the phosphate. So remember, sometimes it's opposite, but basically we should think of that the kinases are what activates, and there are at least 518 known kinases. So why do we need so many kinases? Because of diversity. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit more about cellular signaling.